Hi, I'm Lise Colucci, and I am one of the life coaches, Queen Being, and I'm here to offer live video coaching as you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships and move on to thrive in your life, right? Hello, everyone who's here. I see Erica, America. Hello, Missy Joy, Jack Lumen, Mo Cowboy. Who else? Who am I missing? Phoenix. Anybody else? I see here Alicia. Hello, everybody. I'm going to get to questions in just a second, and we're going to talk today. We're going to start talking about taking responsibility for your own emotional state. And there was a question the other day about how to override guilt and have fun, which I thought tied in nicely with this. And there was also another question that Jack Lumen brought up, and I think was from Joe, that was on how to stop brooding and ruminating on the past. So I think that all kind of ties in together here. So let's just get going with this, and then I will get to reading the chat. So excuse me today, you guys, I'm totally recovering from being down, fevered, and sick with strep throat. So I may have to keep it brief. We'll see how long the throat lets me talk. So anyway, that's what it is. Okay, so one thing when we're talking about taking emotional responsibility, I am not talking about taking responsibility for the abuse someone else caused to you. Okay, what I'm talking about is moving forward in your life, taking responsibility for the emotions you're actually having in the moment, not projecting them onto other people, not expecting other people to take care of them for you, all kinds of stuff like that. Like that, it's there's lots of things that come up when you're a survivor of abuse, and especially when you've had childhood abuse, because we haven't learned how to emotionally regulate and kind of take care and nurture the space that we're in for the emotions that we're feeling in the moment, right? So learning to do that, there's some ideas I had around that. One is, don't assume. When you're around someone and you are assuming that they're thinking something, or you're assuming that there's an issue or there's a problem, stop assuming. You can ask them, hey, is this going on? Hey, what's up with that? Or you cannot ask them. You can just know that you are not in their head, and you cannot, you can't be responsible for what they're feeling, and they're not responsible for what you're feeling. So all you can do is do your best in the moment, right? So don't assume. When you are feeling an emotion, be aware of it. Name it for yourself. Just know what it is that you're feeling. A lot of times when we dissociate from trauma, we forget how to feel, and we forget how to actually name what we're feeling. Like it kind of all mushes together into just bad feeling or okay feeling or no feeling. So try to be more aware of what you're actually feeling. Pay attention a few times a day just to the benign random emotions that you're having throughout the day, so that you can learn to actually feel what it is you're feeling if you need to work on stopping dissociation. And again, when I say dissociation, I'm not talking about a dissociative disorder. I'm talking about the dissociation that happens from trauma and abuse that is sort of a coping mechanism that doesn't go as far as a dissociative identity disorder. So okay, just making that clear, because I know I have been spoken to about that anyway. I've had people not understand that I'm not talking about that when I talk about dissociation. So, and accept the feelings that you've named. So accept that whatever you're feeling is kind of where you're at in the moment. If you're trying to take responsibility for what you're feeling and the experience you're having, you have to kind of be in it and accept that that's where it is. It's not always pleasant, and sometimes it is pleasant. Sometimes it's the pleasant ones we're not accepting. So accept what it is you're feeling. So once you have accepted what you're feeling, you can seek expanding or shifting your beliefs around what it is you're feeling. So sometimes we feel an emotion like, let's go to the guilt. When we're talking about overriding guilt, okay? I don't know what the guilt was about, and without her in here, I don't know if she'll be able to answer it. But let's just say we have guilt for thinking things are our fault, taking blame when it's not ours, right? That kind of guilt. So the guilt's the feeling, right? Maybe we don't really understand why it's there, or logically it doesn't make any sense. There are ways to work on experiencing a bigger picture of what that's like. It's really something I work with in coaching more than I can really work with kind of monologuing here. Through NLP exercises, a lot of shifting can take place. There's other ways too. Mostly it's asking yourself, what does this serve? What is this feeling about? What is it serving? Where am I going with this in my life? But being aware that you can create an expanded view of it, basically get yourself out of being so close up and put a different lens on so you can, or zoom out, however you want to look at it, so you can see the problem differently. And then the emotion can look different. I mean, it's still there, but you're sort of playing with the emotion itself plus the beliefs around it at that point. And that is a big step in taking responsibility for the emotions that you have. Because see, even though somebody else put these emotions there, and even though we've been programmed, and even though it's not your fault, in order to heal, we have to embrace the parts that we can change. And the only way to do that is to take responsibility for the emotional journey that you're on, right? So love yourself, and loving yourself through this, a lot of self-care, a lot of giving yourself the space to feel what you need to feel, and being okay with yourself is loving yourself, right? Look for the lesson in the emotion. Sometimes it's not the thing you think it is. Again, that goes back to looking for shifting beliefs around it. So allow other people their feelings. That's another way to be emotionally responsible, is to accept when other people have differing or feelings that conflict with your own, and allow it. Sometimes when we're survivors, that can be really threatening when someone has an emotion that doesn't seem to fit. We will think immediately it's a red flag or a problem, and it often isn't. Sometimes it's just a differing opinion or something you need to hear that, or could benefit from hearing, that isn't pleasant. So allowing other people to have their feelings, within boundaries that you set for yourself and that they set for themselves. So it's giving the respect back and forth. Another thing is that you can make a choice to choose the thoughts in your mind that help to create the feelings that you feel. And this is kind of going to the brooding as well. So when you recognize yourself brooding, and you recognize that you're going back and you're ruminating over and over and over on the same perseverating thoughts that you can't get out of your head, you think can't. First of all, take the word can't away and say it's difficult to get out of my head. And then second of all, you can choose. So tell yourself, I am choosing a different thought right now. That this is a pattern. I am choosing to step out of this pattern. I'm going to choose this, and really create some ideas for yourself on what you'd rather feel and think in your life, so that you have somewhere to go. Set an intention. That's a big one for taking emotional responsibility. Set an intention for yourself each day of that you will choose the thoughts that you nurture. Okay, you will have thoughts creep in anyway that you don't want there, and that's okay. That's totally human nature, right? But when we're talking about brooding and perseverating thoughts, pattern interrupt, distraction, learning to restate the problem, recognizing in the first place that you're even doing it, and then choosing what you'd rather think, choosing the thought patterns you'd rather have. And to me, it's kind of like tug of war in my head, right? And you just got to create a stronger side that says, no, I choose this. I choose this thought rather than letting myself fall into the pattern. Okay. And so seeking joy from when you are feeling whatever it is you're feeling, whether it's guilt or some other negative feeling, sadness, grief, choosing joy as well, choosing to have fun. I don't see those as separate things. I mean, I don't see those as the same thing. I don't see those as married together. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can be both feeling guilty and you can be having fun. The guilt is, well, first of all, if you're working with it and trying to create an intention around changing it and disbelieving it, so that gives you a little bit of a start. But just because you're feeling sad doesn't mean something can't make you laugh, right? Have you ever had like seen some comedy and you're just feeling maybe not at your worst. I'm not talking about when you newly discarded, everything's awful, you're just at your worst of your worst. I'm talking about the ongoing continuing stuff that you guys are talking about all the time, where it's there and it's feels like it's taking over, but you're still functioning, right? And you may be feeling bad and you see something funny and you laugh anyway. It's the same thing. You just allow yourself to have, my voice is crazy, sorry. Allow yourself to have have both. Allow yourself to feel the joy. When you think something's funny or joyful or you have the experience of fun, let yourself have it. It's not about I should be sad or I'm sad, therefore I can't have the good. Does that make sense? It's two separate things. And we really can hold, it's like up to 8 or 10 emotions at one time. We generally always have them. So we always have, I think it's 8 to 10 emotions going on at one time in our psyche. So pretty normal. We get so hyper focused on the negative, and especially when we've been through trauma, that and when we're trying to heal, we are often focused on the healing, and then it drives us into into thinking about the negative, right? So let yourself, in fact, set an intention to have some fun and joy in your day, every day. Look for it. Look for things that make you feel like you. Excuse me, I may have to take a drink in a second. Look for things that make you feel like you, like yourself, like usually by yourself. And that's why it's so good to have time by yourself, to experience life just kind of purely as yourself. Mindfulness, that's another one. Mindfulness for all of this stuff. Practicing mindfulness every day so that you have moments in your day where everything calms down. And it's not about one feeling taking over or one thought being perseverating. It's about the moment that you're in. And in that moment that you're in, you can decide, I'm going to choose to look around and let something joyful come in or let something fun be present to me, right? Start paying attention to the types of things that you like to do, the types of things that you enjoy, and seek the things that make you feel the most alive. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now and read what you guys say, but seek those things. Okay, hello. Let's see where we're at. No sound? You can't hear me? Have I been talking with no sound? How funny is that? So you really can't hear me? That is so funny. Oops. Okay, so you can hear me. Okay, so I had to type to them. Sorry to those who are watching later. I had to ask if there was actually sound because the funny thing is when you've had strep throat, you don't really want to be talking like more than you have to. Right? So that would have been kind of funny that I just talked for however long thinking I could streamline this. Anyway, let's get on with it. I need to scroll down. Well, you know what? I'm doing my best here. I'm reading. I'm not going to scroll to the bottom and then go back because I'll lose you. So let's get, let's see. Oh, they were freaking out while waiting for me. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything that they want to talk about? I have totally missed. If there's anything in here that any questions or something you want to comment on or ideas about what I was talking about, hit me with it now because I'm going to scroll up, but I may miss things in the scrolling here. Let's see. I'm going to scroll way back. Gosh, you guys are chatty today. Okay. No mind reading allowed. Correct. No mind, no assuming, right? Okay. I'm going to keep talking. Then I don't see anything. Just, you know what? Start over. Okay, Lise, it says, yes, I was experiencing abandonment issues while waiting. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was here. It's taken me a minute. Yeah, okay. I don't want to make you have that. That's not good. I guess we all have to work on that a little, right? That's not assuming. She cares. She's just running 3 minutes behind. It's all good. So yeah, anything you guys want to talk about emotional responsibility? Um, or anything else? Any other questions that come up for you guys through the week? How have you guys been? I'm kind of reading through here and trying. I can't. Part of this is you guys. I still got a fever, and I'm gonna keep it short because I don't think I'm at 100% yet. I practiced breathing and mindfulness. I kept pressing refresh. As I kept pressing refresh, good. See, it gave you time to do your practice. That's all it was. Cowboy starting to see change. Soccer mom, she's starting to see change, but it's gradual. Julie, Lise, I'm in another group. They have told me don't jade. Can you explain further? If I could remember what jade means, I can use my Google thing, and I could look up jade. I know the term. Seriously, in my brain, like recalling things today is on the fritz. So no, I can't right this second, but let's see. I'm sure once I read it, if I could type. Anyway, any other questions? Justify. So don't justify. So, okay. I don't know. I'm not going to do that live. I'll have to look it up. I could explain it if I could see what it was, at least the best I could understand it. Let's see. Trust the opinion of a professional over the impassioned accusation of an ex. That's right. All right, you guys. What? Now it's trying to make me leave the site. The computer's sick too. I don't know. Just try to kick me off of here. Anyway, so that's what I got about emotional responsibility. Lise, why is it when you break no contact and he is sweet, it's like all the bad never happened? Oh, yes, right? All those tears and pain were like it never happened because of trauma bonds, because you are Missy, because it throws you back into a biochemical cycle of endorphin release, adrenaline release, dopamine release when they're nice to you. They create this need for it through the discard, the devalue, the it's like it makes you seek. Okay, so it's akin to pulling a slot machine. You just pull and you pull and you pull and you pull and you hope and you hope and you hope, and then you could get $5 back and you're ecstatic. It's the same exact chemical release that happens in the body. That's why it's addiction. So you have to override with logic. You have to understand, and I think also I talked about this the other day. It's about hoovering. Let me see, what did I write there? I talked about this with hoovering the other day on, was it Monday's stream? That we are seeking from them what we want and what we wish for. We're not looking at the person who's in front of us. So every time they are nice, when you break no contact and they're sweet and they're even repentant or apologetic or kind and they're giving you everything you want, it's feeding into the hope that they're an actual caring human being, which is all we wanted in the first place. Most of us have very high tolerance and we have very patient dispositions, most of us, right? And so it's like it finally paid off, right? So yeah, it's the hope. And the hope is that comes back to this taking emotional responsibility or responsibility for your own emotions, realizing that it's okay to have hope. It's misplaced hope. Hope is a great feeling to have. You're just misplacing it because it's like saying, oh, look, there's a tank of sharks. Maybe today, if I swim with them, they'll turn into goldfish, right? I really hope they will. And look how cute they are. They're all looking at me. They're not doing anything mean. I think I'll dip my toe in. It's this, we have to look at at the patterns in the history that we've experienced and realize that's the reality. The hope is okay to have, and it's just it's sad and it's hard, and it's why no contact should be kept, because you're not really lying to yourself with hope. Hope is just an emotion. What you're lying to yourself about is the fact that they've changed. Okay? So, it's not the hope we're upset with. It's the that they, we know what happens, right? You know what's going to happen. So, does that explain it as best I could? But justify, accuse, defend, explain. It's from the narc abuse. Okay. Justify, accuse, defend. I'm not feeling well enough to just jump into another topic. I'm super topic focused today, but remind me. Oh, I'll talk more about that. I'll write it down for actually, I'm hoping to do a stream tomorrow morning at 9:30 Pacific. So that's 11:30 Central in the morning. A morning stream. So remind me at the end, okay, please, Jack Lumen or Julie, and I will add it to whatever I talk about, because those are good. It's an important one, and I'm not impromptu right now. Brain needs to get better. How do you determine if someone is changing? He had med changes. Says the meds are working for him to see clearly. Was there ever empathy? Was there ever empathy? Empathy is not going to be gained. I'm going to take a sip of this, you guys, because my throat's dying. Okay, empathy is not something that's going to grow in someone that has none. So, has he ever had empathy? That's what I would ask. And I don't mean sympathizing, and I don't mean able to put himself in somebody else's shoes, because that is just kind of personifying someone else's experience, or projecting, or assuming. When I say empathy, I mean, can you sense any feeling from him that shows he has care and can feel what other people are experiencing as they experience it, not as he thinks they are experiencing it. Does that make sense? Yes, he had empathy, but plays the victim. Is it worth trusting him? Is it worth it to you to go back into something or to continue with something that could take years of your life? See, the point is, toxic is toxic, and it doesn't matter what we call the person. It doesn't matter what the label is, and it really doesn't. Someone could be not a narcissist at all, but just a toxic person. Energy vampires, for one. Just it's not just narcs. There's lots of people who will drain you dry of your energy, and that is toxic to be around. And is it worth the rest of your life trying to wait around for them to be the person you need them to be? Or is it, that's what I would ask myself. I don't think, honestly, you can determine if someone is changing if they have had strong narc traits, and you're here, so I'm assuming they do. I wouldn't trust them ever. I'd say good for you. I hope you continue on that path. Bye-bye. That's stay on your meds so that you can be a better person, whatever, but I wouldn't trust it personally. Malignant optimism. That's a good term. Hi, James. Let's see. La 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 la. Let's see. What else we got? What do we got going on? I am reading so slow. I'm sorry, you guys. Hope makes generating despair easier because hope can blind you to the truth. It can, but you know what? Hope itself it's not. It's what we attach the hope to. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about with having emotional responsibility. If you feel like hope, like you have all this hope, really what you're feeling is grief that the hope isn't that you have this hope and the person isn't meeting the expectations of that hope. And so that's where the conflict is. The hope itself isn't a bad emotion. Neither is the grief. The emotions aren't bad. They're trying to teach you something. They're trying to teach you how to experience your life the way you want to experience it. If you don't like these feelings, we have to stop going into them. We have to stay no contact and realize that, oh, every time I do that, it just brings up hope. It's a false hope. It's my hope. My hope is real. Okay. But where I'm placing my hope is on someone who is toxic. So the situation isn't healthy. Okay. So then, you're looking at the bigger picture, you can then realize it's not hope's fault. it's nobody's fault. It's the narc's fault, really. But it's not. The point is, taking responsibility says don't talk to them. Right. Hello, Barbara. Hi, Jessica. How are you? Julie, I think Lisa may be right. Whether or not it's the expectations attached to that hope are realistic and grounded, I think. Well, yeah, and we have to look at, the bigger picture, because sometimes it's the hope is there. The grief comes in or the anger or the hurt or whatever you feel, because the person can't meet the expectation, or they just can't be what you need them to be. They aren't. Okay. The shark's the shark. And what we do is we stop looking at the person. We project the hope onto the other person as if it's going to change them. And a narc will always be a narc. A shark will always be a shark, right? That's what they are. So don't expect the change, right? Let's see. Hope dies last. But you know what? We don't need hope to die. We just need to change. What I'm trying to say, Missy, is change where you're focusing your hope. Hope for a future free from this pain. Okay. Hope for the things you want in your life. Look to other things. And this goes back to finding your joy. Look for your joy. Look for things that make you feel alive. This person doesn't make you feel alive. They actually drag you down into feeling like nothing, most likely. All right. So placing your hope in a place that, what we do, part of trauma bonding, is that we seek relief from the thing that causes pain. Okay, that's like excuse me. That's like the nature of a trauma bond, is that there's so much loyalty and devotion back to the thing, person, whatever, that is the source of the pain. So it takes often a logical and very directed effort to use a lot of self-care and use a lot of focus to set new intentions for your life. Okay. And then that's where you place your hope. So hope is a good thing. We just need to hope for the right things, because you know what? Where we place our hope is where our lives start to go. That's what we want, right? False hope, Mo Cowboy says, false hope is hanging onto hope with no evidence of change in real time. Hope is based on the evidence of change or progress, like a building project, actual progress. That's kind of what I'm talking about, right? I think that's what I'm talking about. I'm just not wording it the same way, I think. Okay. Shifting the internal locus of control, going into purpose drive within you, I think it was. Well, yeah, this is all about, what I'm talking about today is taking responsibility for your emotional state. That is shifting, and that is a more basic or attainable way of saying shift your internal locus of control, because a lot of people hear that and go, I don't have locus in my control. I don't have any locus anywhere. Right? But really, it is about shifting. It's about taking control in your life. We can't control our emotions, but we certainly can guide our thoughts. Okay. And we can accept and honor our emotions. And through doing that, the emotions will shift. You'll have different experiences. When you have different experiences in your life, you get new emotions that go with it, right? And if so, we have to learn that all of these negative emotions that we're so hopeful will change through these toxic people and through these toxic experiences aren't going to change there. They're going to change through choosing a different path. You're concerned. How short did you say you wanted this to be? We don't want you getting worse. Oh, I won't get worse. I'm on medicine. and I got the antibiotics going and I'm all good. I'm okay. Don't be concerned. I've got good boundaries with my uh, self and timing. Um, let's see. Anything else? Am I missing anybody asking anything? If I am, please just restate it because the scrolling today isn't, my eyes aren't super focused. So let's see. Um, Darla, I think often the narc gets better at hiding or faking. They sure do, especially coverts. They learn because there's people and they're smart and they're not, they have emotions and feelings. They just don't have empathy. So they learn through their own patterning in their own lives and their own grooming of other people and whatnot to hide parts of themselves deeper and deeper. And a covert will, hide it for years sometimes. So yeah, they definitely get better at faking. In the case of coverts, oh snap, Lise mentioned covert for sure. You're right. Yeah, definitely in the case of coverts. But I mean, I think they all have covert tendencies. It's just some are more covert than others. They all have overt tendencies too, but yeah. Missy Joy, I've always been codependent, but toxic relationship puts me at an extreme level. Thank you. I will watch Dana's stream from last night. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So say more about that, Missy. What in there would you like to change? What for yourself would you, it puts you at an extreme level. Where are you at now with it? And what piece of that can you see taking some emotional responsibility for so that you can start working to change it? Does that make sense? Putting you on the spot here, but that's what I'm doing here, right? No, you're not alone. Julie says you're not alone. Most of us do have codependent traits. If we have been, not most, many people who have been in toxic relationships have those same traits. You're definitely not alone. Mo Cowboy, I like the term grooming as I relate to grooming dogs. When grooming a dog, the dog releases oxytocin and bonds to the groomer. Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point. Grooming is interesting. Grooming is interesting, and it, let's see. That's a whole nother topic that I should do another day. And I'm going to write that down right now while you're sitting there because it's important. Grooming. I think that's it's good to learn to recognize because it's not just red flags you're looking for when you're talking about new people in your life. It's grooming. Grooming is a red flag, but it's harder to see. And there's all kinds of ways that you can be groomed, right? So anyway, we'll talk about that another time. So we don't spend the last few minutes here going on another topic that I will lose myself in. Write down Jade too. I will. I did write down Jade. Thank you. All right, another paper, Jade. And Julie, I'm gonna try to do that on Friday morning. I think it's 9:30. I don't know for sure yet. I think it's 9:30 a.m. They're in the trap. Yep, it is a trap. Grooming feels good. It does. It does. Grooming, it has to. That is, and yes, it is the trap. And the thing is that grooming, well, let's go into grooming at a time because I really could go on and on about grooming. Yes, and when see, it's it's a learned behavior from childhood. Yeah, that's, I think for a lot of us, this is what I meant, Missy, when I was saying that even though there's programming and learned behaviors, from this moment on, you can take responsibility for the emotions around your current life. Does that make sense? Instead of, I'm not saying forgive the abusers or take blame for anything that happened to you. I'm saying understand that you have triggers, understand that, where these things come up in your life, where you are, where it's affecting the life that you have. And in that area, that's when you can start taking control back. And what taking the responsibility does is it gives you a sense of agency and helps you get your control back in your life or get some control to begin with in your life. 11:30 Central, 9. Yes, 11:30 Central. Early lunch with Lise, 11:30 Central. Lunch with Lise or brunch. Exactly. Or breakfast. Or if you're with me, just coffee. I don't know. Um, it's been a terrible realization for me to see narcissism etched through generations of my family. Believe me, yeah, I get that. Rebecca says, yes, understand yourself and don't judge. It's true. And that's another one. Thank you, Rebecca. Judge on taking responsibility for your emotional state. When I said don't assume of other people, don't judge of yourself. Allow your feelings, don't judge them. The second you judge what you're experiencing, um, the second you judge it, you are putting a box around it and saying this is all there is. And the whole point of changing in life and growth and evolving, one huge point is that we have to shift beliefs. We have to be open to shifting our beliefs about the things we hold that are the patterns in our life. Does that make sense? So, yeah. So, yes, don't judge. um, that's okay, Shastina. You can rewatch, right? Anything you want to ask? We were talking about your topic. Of finding the fun, even if you have guilt. So, yeah, rewatch and you know what, Shastina, if I have a little bit longer, but rewatch it and any questions you have or any comments you have, put them in the comments and I'll reply to you throughout the day. We can go back and forth there. um, let's see. La la la. You're taking notes. This is your suggestion if you don't see it already. That's why you're bummed. Okay, well, we can recap some of this. So, tell me, Justina, if you will, when you say guilt, what is the guilt about? Is it guilt I don't know what the guilt is around because there's different reasons you might feel guilt, and maybe I can directly answer that for yourself if I have a little bit more understanding. Yes, Rebecca says, yep, especially us kind of kids of narcs because they shaped our beliefs. Many epiphanies in recovery, right? They shaped your beliefs. I mean, and it's funny because, well, it's not funny. It's just a fact that everyone has had their beliefs shaped by their upbringing. And even people who have had pretty good upbringings have some pretty messed up internal beliefs about themselves. So, I mean, in a sense, I'm just going to say it, we're kind of lucky because we've hit the bottom and we need to crawl back up. And once we realize we can, we don't want to stop. And we get to evolve out of this into something much better. I feel guilt because I don't know. Being bummed is okay. It is. It is. And I think you'll get something from the playback too, so that's okay. I'm waiting for the. Oh, there we go. Because I was once told to leave NARC and never look back by a psychiatrist, and I never questioned him, and I didn't understand the full meaning of his words. Okay, so you feel like you were in a situation that you should have known better because you were warned and you didn't react in the way that you should have, right? Am I getting it? And get yourself out of there. So you feel like that from that point on, it was your fault for what you experienced? Is that what you mean by guilt? I'm going to let you reply. I just want to make sure I'm understanding you. Exactly. Jack Lemon. So stop messing up. Needs you to work. Oh, okay. So was that what you meant, Shastina? Is that you feel like from the moment that you heard those words, you should have gotten yourself out, and so from that point on, it was your fault, and you feel guilty, or you were at least part of it, and that the guilt of having stayed. Hang on, let her answer before she gets sidetracked, because otherwise I'm sitting here silent waiting for her to answer, and that's boring. Because look, it's boring. So, okay, I'm gonna go with that, assuming that that's what you meant, unless you say differently. Okay, Shastina. So, if you didn't understand the full meaning of the words, you can even understand the full meaning of the words. You can understand exactly, oh, you tried committing suicide and was hospitalized when the psychiatrist told me to leave. I foolishly married him less than a year later and had another child. You know what? Um, it's still not your fault. It really isn't. You were trauma bonded and you were fully enmeshed in his life when all of this happened. Okay, you were, whether someone can warn you, and because of the duplicity and the two-sidedness of a narcissist, it's almost impossible to believe what anyone tells them about you until you start really digging in and researching. And I'm telling you, even people who know, even people who experience all of it with full knowledge of what's going on, as they're researching it, can have a really hard time getting out. Okay, it's not, you feel guilt because I should have known better and because all the problems that is caused by myself and my children. Excuse me. It's, you're not alone there, okay? And I would challenge you to take a bigger picture at that guilt. Okay? So maybe I can't really do an NLP exercise with you here, but one nice thing you can try is just visualizing yourself feeling the guilt. Okay? And what do you feel for her when she feels guilt? Okay, pay attention to that. Just sit with it for a bit and see if that gives you a different perspective. Finding ways to change your perspective. I talked about that earlier. So re-listen if you can. It's like experimenting with ways to shift the beliefs around these feelings, because I'm telling you, Shastina, that guilt is misplaced. It's not your fault. What somebody does as an abuser, number one, they create a situation where we feel like it's our fault. And I think a lot of us have felt guilt in one way or another. And you can explain yours really well, but sometimes when we explain it to ourselves like that, we convince ourselves that it's real. And I'm telling you, at least from the outside, not your fault. Okay? It's feeling sad that happened. That's, yeah, and feeling but the guilt holding you is holding you to your trauma. You see what I'm saying? Like the guilt itself is holding you there to that trauma. So I would urge you to, basically, you're looking at it, this close. I'd urge you to back it off and look at the bigger picture of everything. Look at other people's stories too. Is that making sense? Yeah, don't take responsibility for following the narc's rat race. That's right. Rat maze. That's right. You were groomed. Okay, number one, you were groomed. You were groomed to trust them. You were groomed to believe them. They become your safe space, even though they're the place that causes the damage. All right. So when the world is crumbling in, they're the ones you turn to. It's the way it is. Okay, it's not easy to get away. It's not easy, and especially feelings get so overwhelming and dissociated. Yeah, it does, and it's not. So here's the other side of your question, though: is how do you find joy, or how do you have fun? And I was saying earlier that it's not one or the other; it's one and the other. So yeah, your feelings are what they are, and my suggestion to step back a bit and see it from a different perspective. However, you can find ways to do that, even if it's, posting in a larger group and asking how many people feel guilt. So you can see that you're not alone there, and it's not, and when you read other people's story, you can feel empathy for them because you realize, my gosh, it's not their fault. They're not stupid. They're not all these things I'm telling myself I am. And so maybe I'm not either, right? So things like that. But also realizing that you can have joy and fun anyway. So like you can have a bad day. Like I'm not feeling pretty crummy and I'm still having a good day. Okay. And it's not because I'm super optimistic and positive. It's because there's been some funny things happen and some nice things happen. And I've got good tea. So hey, it's not so bad. Right. But perspective, right? And so you can have the bad and the good at the same time. So it's not a matter of having the guilt override it. It's just the guilt is alongside it. Does that make sense? And okay, good, making sense. Anyway, and then go back and listen, and there might be some other little bits in there that help related to that. I can't remember all I said, but it isn't your fault, Justina, at all. Okay, it isn't. You can. I don't know. I have to think more on that. That's a tough one. It's a tough one to let go of because it's a belief you now have formed in yourself in order to cope with what you've been through, right? So, gonna think about I'm gonna think about the guilt. Uh, let's see. There's a lot of talk here, and I've just completely talked through it. Let's see. Lise is right. You were groomed and trauma bonded. When you are ready, I think you will feel grief, anger, sorrow, but I think you will also be able to get past the shame. I hope so. I think so too. I think you can. And I think changing perspective on the grief. So sometimes the guilt, okay, here's another point. Sometimes these feelings that are strong, like guilt, um, are masking the feelings you need to feel. Okay. If you hold on to guilt, then you don't have to feel all the other stuff. But the point is, you got to walk all the way through it. You got to feel what's there to be felt. And so I think you said you dissociate from it. That could be part of the dissociation is clinging to the guilt so that you don't have to feel the other things. So, safely, gently, with a lot of self-care, just if you have a moment of sadness, allow it. Give yourself some care. If you have a moment of, you know, grief or whatever that isn't wrapped up in the um, feelings of guilt, when you feel it separate, allow it, right? And comfort yourself, give yourself care, talk to a friend, get yourself in span and talk, get in here and talk, whatever. Just, surround yourself with people who support you. Okay. Mo Cowboy says, I feel guilt and grieving. 60 years lost. Is that what that says? Trying to keep the feelings of gratitude that I did get out and have a chance to live in my head with the guilt. Yeah. You see, it's tricky. Mo Cowboy, yeah, keep the two seemingly conflicting feelings at the same time takes time and patience. Mindfulness is helping me. It does. It also takes acceptance, I think, that, you can be having a bad feeling and a good feeling at the same time. Alicia says, forgive yourself, Shastina. I was depressed and suicidal. Also, my therapist tried to point out the truth to me, and I also went and married the narc. Yeah, you see, you're really not alone there. And my guess is Alicia's pretty awesome too. So, you're in good company. You're in good company with having had bad experiences. Jack Lemon says, I feel deep shame over let's see, I feel a little twinge of shame when I think I was trying so hard to please her, mom narc. Right. Yeah, it is, and that's part of the grooming process, what you're talking about there, Jack Lemon. They groom you to behave a certain way. And even though it goes against the instinct, and at the time, it feels good because it gets the good feedback. So it makes sense why we do it if you look at it logically. And yes, there can be twinges of shame around it too. Let's see. Shastina says, like Mo Cowboy said, my whole life wasted 40 years now. Health leaves little to move on and actually have a decent life. Here for was. Yeah, it's hard. But you know what? You have to look forward. If we keep looking back all the time, find pieces in your life to look forward, okay? You're gonna look back. That's just what we do. We have to heal, and part of it is looking back. But from a coaching perspective, look forward. Find pieces of your day that you can move forward. Anything, anything. It doesn't matter. Just anything that is forward thinking, anything that gets you feeling like you're alive, right? Find those things, little things. It doesn't matter. Just anything, just to get motion the other direction. Okay. If we think I wasted my whole life this many years, I mean, believe me, I'm 48. I get it, right? I get it. Okay. But we have to move we can't go backwards, and we can only go the direction we're headed, right? So we have to think that way a little bit, slowly. My dad was also a narc. She says, so it's been my whole life. I don't know what is supposed to be healthy. You create what is healthy, okay? You learn the boundaries and the what you want for the life around you, and you create what is healthy. You don't have to know what is supposed to be healthy. You just know what isn't right for you, and you stay away from that, and you seek what feels more akin to what you want. So maybe trying to figure out what it is you want. Simple things that might help. I'm not sure. Okay, moving on here. Find some fun. It is hard. James did an excellent on topic video that he posted today. Oh, good. You do have to find the fun. It is, you know what? It isn't as hard as you think it is. I think when we're going out like seeking, it can totally feel hard, but it really isn't that hard. You guys, I'm talking simple. I'm not talking about like partying and like finding those, major things to go, oh, my life's so great now. Little things. I seriously like the sky right now. I'm looking, it is the most amazing color starting, and that is making me happy. Things like that, like little things. I know the things that make me happy, and when they're there, I look and I enjoy them, and it's momentary, but it completely changes the day. So it's like that. Okay, at least to me. I don't know. Rebecca says they train us like a dog so they can live with us. Only we're not dogs, and that doesn't bring us happiness. It's not your fault. Control freak didn't win. That's right. And you're getting lots of hugs, Shastina. Not adopting. You're an adult now. Okay. Anything else, you guys? Oh, it's almost 5:30. Okay, yeah, we're almost done here today. Anybody have anything they want to talk about quickly before we go? Shasina says, I'm trying to look forward and make major decisions that impact my life heavily, but making so many bad decisions, I'm afraid, have no support. Okay, how about little tiny decisions that only impact your moment? That's what I'm suggesting, is little decisions that you can take an inventory of at the end of the day. Oh, I made these 5 decisions for my day, and I feel better. Like I made the decision to do whatever, take a walk. I'm just saying. And that was a good decision because now I feel better. And, like maybe small decisions so that you learn to build trust in yourself for making the major decisions. And you know what? Some decisions aren't going to work out, and that's okay. That's the thing is some decisions, they don't pan out, and some decisions do pan out. But we get polarized in our thinking, black and white when we've had trauma. So paying attention to the little decisions that you make that impact your moment or your day might help you. It might help you kind of bring it back a bit instead of looking forward for major decisions. Because that's scary for anyone, right? That's scarier for the best of most emotionally grounded and secure people in the world to make major decisions. Rebecca says detox. What do you do to physically and non-physically detox? Like like pomegranate juice and smudging. Are you asking that, or are you saying that? Are you asking somebody that or me that? Rebecca, detox. It's a good question. I don't know. Julie says, I hated myself for so much while I would date myself. Yeah, she had to date herself in order to love myself again. That's right. That's a good way to look at it, is taking yourself out, treating yourself the way you would want to be treated, giving yourself the care and respect and attention that you would like from someone else. Okay, you guys, I'm going to head out. I did it. Hour of talking. Shastina says, I enjoy the little things, always have. I think once I'm out of the financial family trust, I'll do better. I can do the small stuff, but the big stuff freezes me. Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. Keep paying attention to the small stuff. Maybe write it down. I don't know. Keep paying attention that you can. So a lot of times we can do parts of our life, but we don't recognize that we can do it. And that can stall us down too. So maybe you are, but I'm obviously not actually talking to you in a setting where I can hear you. So I don't know. Okay. You guys, I'm going to head out. I'm going to see you tomorrow, hopefully at 9:30 in the morning, my time. That's 11:30 Central, 9:30 Pacific, for a morning live stream. We will be talking at least partly. What did we say? Grooming. Is that it? No, I don't think grooming tomorrow. We said something else. Jade. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I have to read, and I know what it is. I just can't remember off the top of my head. So we will do that. And we're talking about smudging now. Okay, I'm going to let you guys finish your chat. You're welcome, Darla. And you guys take care. Oh, you're having a date night with you. Excellent. You guys take care, and I will see you tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, then I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining me, you guys. Good night.